Alrighty, well, that brings me to my favorite part of the evening. And this is where I get to learn a whole lot of stuff. Tonight, we have Ben Maden from Matter Solutions. He's here to talk to us about SEO. So it's a topic there that comes up really regularly when I talk with people. And it's sort of cloaked in this mystery as well too, which I think there are some digital marketers out there that enjoy that cloak of mystery, because if you don't understand what's going on, then they can almost do what they like. So it's good to have someone like Ben here, who's one of those good guys in the industry, very transparent and open with the information that he's got. So those that haven't met Ben, he's got over 20 years experience in the digital marketing industry. I know he doesn't look that old, but yes, he's got all that experience behind him. And what's interesting about him is that he didn't start off in digital marketing. He's actually got a master's degree in aeronautical engineering. So when he tells you that SEO is not rocket science, don't believe him, because he's a rocket scientist. But he's been working in the digital space since around 2000. And an interesting fact about him is he launched one of the UK's first e-commerce platforms for artwork. So that was back in 2005, for those of you that remember back then. He moved to Australia in 2006, was just in time to catch the global financial crisis. So he was able to enjoy that here rather than over in the UK. But that didn't stop him, setting up business, expanding his business. One of the things that he did do, and this is where Ben and I first met, was he ran the largest web designers meetup in Brisbane. So there were regularly, 200, sometimes 300 people, I think, on that list there. But, there's generally sort of 100 or so or more people that would turn up to that meetup. So it was one of the more popular meetups in that digital space. So he's got some fame and notoriety sort of around him for organising that as well too. But he does host free digital events in Brisbane and Sydney. He donates the proceeds to charity, and he's also involved in some innovative projects like an SEO audit tool, and there's a WP Guard, which is a WordPress security app, which he's just launching as well too. So he's got his hands in all sorts of things, but he is a digital master. He really does understand SEO and digital space. And he's here tonight to talk to us about mastering SEO, 3 keys every business should know to get found online. So let's put your hands together. Welcome to the stage, Ben Maden.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks, everybody. Hello. I was saying to Nick, this is the first time I've done a presentation like this for a few years, but yeah, I'm pretty excited. And what I want to do is make sure that what I'm delivering today is really practical and useful. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get into my presentation mode and share. Can you see the screen yet, Nick? Oh,
not quite there yet, coming up.
There we go. It's on the wrong screen. You see that?
Looking good. Mastering SEO.
There we go. Have you got the navigation, everything at the top?
We have at the moment, yes.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
None there now.
There we go. Can we move that? Yeah, there we go. Good. All right. Yeah, I had all the bit, the Zoom stuff. Okay. So one of the things I like to do is make sure that we've got a good foundational understanding about what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. So I like to think about simple models, real simple kind of understanding. And the reason we'll be doing this is that when we get our hands dirty in the practical side of the presentation, that it's going to make sense. So I'm going to talk to you about the SEO triangle that we talk about, just like the fire triangle. And if you're familiar with the fire triangle, then you're probably in Scouts like me. And you understand that if you want something to burn, you need fuel, heat, and oxygen. And if you want something to rank in Google, you need keywords, well, content with the keywords, and you need to have some links. And actually, as a foundation, you need to have a good user experience. So if your website's kind of repellent, so horrible color background, or you don't say the right thing, or it's super slow, then Google detects that very quickly and you can't rank. So these things, they're just like the fire triangle. And really what I want to do is think about the objective of each and every website that we work with. And that's very often leads. So I work with mostly businesses that just want the phone to ring or a form to be filled in, or get an email. Either way, it's just a lead. We do have a couple of clients that do e-commerce, and of course, in their case, it's a sale. But either way, we think of the website as the most basic framework that we can think of, like a box. And this is probably not what you want to expect from somebody who's done web design for 20 years. Like, I don't design websites. Other people do this. And a web designer would probably look at this and say, hey, that's ugly. Yeah, it is. But it doesn't matter. All it is a visual model to understand that we've got visitors coming in and leads coming out. And the measure of a successful website is that it does that at a high rate. Now, why am I telling you about this when we're doing SEO? Well, because I want to help you find visitors that want to come through your website so that they are keen and they have the right keywords in their search, mean that they've got the right intent in their mind. And we're going to hit that a lot when we're talking about today, talk about intent. They've got the right intent in their mind. That means that they want to buy your service from you. And how they get to you doesn't really matter. Adverts, SEO, social, I want them to be the right people. And how we bring them in, we want to get them with the right intent. And when we measure the website and measure the performance of the website, we're going to measure adverts to adverts, SEO to SEO, social to social, and so on, so that we can work out what's the performance of each channel. That's what we refer to, these different entry points and pass-throughs through the website. So when we look at this, we think we can only do two things with any website. We can improve the conversions and we can get more visitors. That's all we can do. Now, you could redesign the website, you can make the buttons bigger, you can make the text better, you can do all sorts of things, a huge myriad of things. But as an SEO presentation, what I want to do is talk to you about getting the right visitors in the first place. And when we're hunting for keywords that we want to optimize for and improve the website for, we want to think about that intent. That means that when they come through the website or they land on the website, they want to come through and they want to become a lead or a sale. I'm going to just call them leads, and we can talk about that interchangeably. Google Analytics will track all this for you. I'm not going to cover that because we don't really have time, but there are lots of good resources for how you can set up goal tracking in your websites, and that is essential when you're getting up and running. Improving the conversions, making the website better. Well, you can watch your customers. You can actually have a look at people who come in through, say, hotjar.com. You can watch them like a surveillance tape and see what they're doing. But we're going to focus in on user experience. So people have a good experience on the website when the intent that's in their mind is met by your text. And we want to get more visitors. Well, we want to get the SEO working, but we'll come to that. The inbound marketing funnel is another way to think about the text in your website. And what we're going to do is we're going to think about it like a wall. And we're going to build a wall that helps us think about, on the left-hand side, you've got people at the bottom of the funnel, people who are ready to buy. And I'll show you some keywords in just a moment. People who are ready to buy because they're right near the sale or the lead, the green little box down the bottom here. Can you see my mouse wiggling? Okay. So if they're less kind of ready to buy, maybe they're just comparing, or they've got some information they want, or maybe they're just starting their journey. And I've got an example for you. Let's say, for example, we've got a website, we want to sell drones. We've got two different personas, a hobbyist and somebody who wants just a nice brand name drone, a DJI, a Parrot, that sort of thing. Now, a hobbyist is going to spend far less, but they buy them often. And a gadget guy is going to buy one very expensive one, maybe once a year, maybe once ever. So there's a lifetime value, there's some commercial aspects to this. But if you have a look at the wall that we want to build, we start off at the bottom and we make sure that the website has the ability to convert somebody because they want to buy a Mavic Air, or they want to buy a particular brand of drone. You could buy drones from, China for drop shipping, like $100, $120, and you can sell them for $300 or $400. So you can build a website around a hobbyist, but you have to turn over the product. You have to, factor in all of these different issues. But what we're doing here is we're thinking about the intent, and we're thinking about it on a sort of a customer journey where a customer is learning how to fly a drone, And until they've learned what it's like to fly a drone or some idea of how to fly a drone, they're not going to buy one. And they're not even going to do a comparison about what are the costs of the drones. They might have a little bit of a look, but they certainly won't be ready to go and actually purchase a particular drone. So this funnel helps us plan and organize content site-wide, but it also helps us think about the clusters of keywords for the particular depth point through the funnel. So if we're deep in the funnel, right down at the bottom, those kind of keywords, can you see they have best, have buy on them? And that's because they're very transactional, right? And they're the strongest keywords. They're the best keywords as far as an SEO is concerned. If you can rank at the top for a buy keyword and you're number one, you're going to get lots of sales and you're going to make lots of money. But in order to get the credibility with Google, you really probably also have to have some compare and some best content as well. So we're going to skip past this. Is everything making sense right now? Can I just see I can't see the chat. Hang on a sec. Everybody's good. Where is the chat? I've lost it. There it is. Okay. Everybody knows the anatomy of a web page, a search result. We've got the Google ads at the top. Can everybody tell that this is pretty old? And we got the map pack below, again with an ad mixed in the middle. And then you've got the organic results. And this is where we're talking today. And I really wanted to highlight this because Nick said, you know, not everybody has a lot of SEO skills or understands really where I'm coming from. And so what I wanted to do is just make sure that we're very clear about the difference between advertising and organic. These you pay for. They've got ad next to them as well. Now it's a lot more subtle. And here, these are the organic results that mean that you're there and you're not paying every time somebody clicks. You're there because Google thinks you're relevant. But what I see is a race. I see everybody in the organic results racing as hard as they can to get to the top. And I'm going to show you how to wiggle your legs and make your website run a bit faster than the next guy. So before we do that, I'm going to describe the difference between ads and SEO. SEO, I think of like an elephant, slow, lumbering. There's a couple of things I'm going to show you that are actually really very quick, but yeah, SEO is a lot slower than ads. Ads, you can just put money on it and away it goes. And that's why we think about them as elephants and cheetahs. Imagine the cheetah, as soon as it's had its feed, as soon as it's done its running around, it just lies down in the sun. The elephant has to go grazing around all the time, so it's always moving. But I'm going to skip where do people click, apart from, I just want to note, if you're looking at all the search results, this is page 2 down here on the right-hand side. Hardly anybody clicks on page 2. There's the SEO joke, you know, where to bury a body, page 2. On page 1, people click number 10. In total, people click number 10 more than they click all of page 2 put together. But then if you compare that with number 1, 10th to 1st, 14-fold. Now, this data varies based on what the keyword is, but this is a very good representation. This is very good kind of a mental model for thinking about how this works. And if we think just going from bottom of page 1/10 to 5th, that's a 60% improvement. And if you can go from 5th to 1st, that's 8-fold. Yep. It's not always going to be the case, but 2nd to 1st, 3.5 times. If you could double your business by moving 2 centimeters, would you? You know, that's really the question. And so really the thing this has always told me, and this graph is actually extremely old, it's about focus. Finding one really good keyword and getting it right to the very top is extremely beneficial. Because if you've got 10 keywords that you're 10th for, and you're sort of managing all of them and you're popping in and out of page 1 versus one keyword that really sits solidly on page 1 and a few stragglers, that one keyword on page 1 at number 1, that can deliver more traffic And if it's the right keyword, remember the website is a box. If it can travel, the visitor can travel right through your website and become a customer, that commercially is significantly more valuable, massively more valuable to you and your business. So as a recap, we've learned a little bit about goals. We've learned about changes we can make. We can look at the conversions. We can go and earn some traffic, which we've got to get to with SEO. Ads are like cheetahs, SEO are like elephants. We've got to focus effort on keywords, and the customer journey needs to be thought about. And when we create content, we need to think about the customer journey as well. Like, what buying stage are these people in? Are they ready to part with the money, or are they trying to learn how to fly a drone? Are they just discovering? So how do you get to the top? Well, before we work out what to get to the top, how to get to the top, we want to know which keyword, because some keywords are very easy and some of them are very hard. And this is the trade-off, where we want to find the pot of gold, or the heart of gold here. We want to find the keyword that has really low competition, the one that has lots and lots of visitors, and that they're the right ones, because it has lots of value to your business. And now you can think back to that drone example of people who buy drones on a regular basis versus people who buy one drone and that's it for the rest of their life. It may well be more valuable to look after the smaller repeat buyers, but that's your business decision. And then using that strategic business decision to then decide, okay, which content are we going to create? What are we going to go after? I mean, ideally, you might go after both, but which one are you going to do first? There's always a trade-off. And now here we've got, I've called it freebie city, and that's where there's lots of competition, but it's not valuable to you. And that is a very valuable thing to do. If you go to the Matter Solutions website, you'll find there's actually a freebies drop down. There's lots of free stuff on our website where people can DIY, they can go to our YouTube channel, they can read and they can look and they can watch videos and they can learn SEO for themselves. And that's really valuable, because when they're ready, we're there. And they transition from being somebody who just wants the free information through to somebody who wants much more. And that's really why we do the workshops, why we do all sorts of free stuff. The super competitive stuff, I wouldn't go after that, and I'll show you why. There's another picture of the elephant coming up. And then the ghost town. That's the kind of, low competition, great value if people search for it, but there's not many people there. And I've had a bit of a look at stuff for Daniel when you were talking about your urban buyer, the buyer's agent. Yeah, a little bit like that in your market. There's not many people searching. Competition isn't fierce, but the low amount of people there, it's a little bit like a ghost town. So yeah, we'll actually, if it's all right with you, I'd like to talk about that.
Yeah, no problem.
So the curves and keywords, I'm going to talk about how keywords kind of build up and how I see them. And that's very much related to that Venn diagram of where the sweet spot is in the middle. And so if we think about a particular journey, if I just need a plumber, I search for plumber. Yeah, but I don't, because years ago people did, and they realized you're just getting all the plumbers from all over Brisbane, or actually all over Australia. So there's lots of traffic because a lot of people are searching, but there's no real commercial value because you're competing with every plumber in Australia and there's not much relevance. Do you do hot water systems? Do you do drains? What do you do? There's taps, do you do the little emergency things? Well, plumber Brisbane, much less traffic, less than 10% of people in the Brisbane and surrounds kind of area relative to Australia as a whole. So far less traffic, but there's a little bit more commercial value. Brisbane CBD, okay, that's a lot more valuable because it's in my location. And if it's just a general kind of plumbing gig that I need a plumber to come and, service my apartments or whatever, okay, could be, I don't need a specific job fixed right now. I just want a plumber. So it could be commercially very valuable. But if I want a plumber in Ascot, yep, same. Hot water system in Ascot, much more specific. But you see that the amount of search is very low. the amount of people searching for that relative to just the generic term of plumber. And this is where people who do what I do send people wrong. So it'll cost you an absolute fortune to rank #1 in Google for plumber, and I could buy a lovely new Land Cruiser. Yep. So if I sell that to you, yeah, then that's good for me, but it's not necessarily good for you. So what we do with our clients is we try and get them to think about the specifics, the problems, the locations, and all the keywords that have lots of commercial value for them. And we get them those keywords before we even think about going for the big hitters. And we do that because there's a sweet spot there in the mid. You can advertise to hunt in there. So that's the Google Ads thing. Again, Google Ads is not SEO, but here's the elephant back again. You can put the cheetah in here doing the advertising and hunting and trying to find which keywords are the good ones, because it isn't always obvious. You can make assumptions about what people have got in their head when they search, but it isn't always obvious what they actually need and what they actually want. So here with the SEO, I clicked on the elephant and it flipped. So the SEO, the elephant is over here. Let's say you're just starting out on your SEO journey. You don't really have a strong website. And I'll explain what that means in just a moment. You need to start where the competition is low, over on the far right-hand side. And then as your website gets stronger and stronger, the elephant effectively moves to the left, and you can get closer and closer and closer to the strong keywords. Now, I'll give you an example. I won't give the name of the business, but they came to us and they were spending between $12,000 and $15,000 a month on their Google Ads. And I worked out that for about $80,000, I could get his entire website ranking SEO-wise in the same space. So effectively taking the elephant from where it is right now and moving it into the sweet spot over on the left. And it took us about 12 months to do that, and a little bit of lag, rebuild the website. 18 months later, they had about twice as much traffic from ranking well for the same things that they were spending $15,000 a month on, right? And they could literally stop on a dime once they're ranked, and they would drift slowly back to the right because everybody else is moving to the left as well. Actually, as people improve their websites and everybody's website gets stronger, everybody's moving from right to left. So there are some markets where you have to be the one that moves from right to left faster than everybody else. But in their market, they didn't have to do an awful lot. So once we got there, they could actually take a few months off, put some money in the bank, they franchised the business, and there's a whole load of things happened. But very interesting kind of situation where they were able to replace about $200,000 a year with $80,000 worth of SEO. So $200,000 worth of ads every year forever with $80,000 one-off. Well, over 12 months. So it's quite significant. So links, what is the SEO that they paid 80 grand for? Well, there's a lot of on-site stuff, which we're going to look at, but the links is actually where it really hit their budget. And in here, a link between one website and another looks like this. We have a little bit of code, we have a bit of clickable text, and this clickable text, SEOs like me, we call this anchor text, right? A stands for anchor here in the code. And all you need to know is that this is very, very important. Like, we're going to cover this again in a bit. Now, I told Nick that I was going to mention this. So Google has this algorithm that calculates the value of every page based on all the links that link between one website and another. And back in 2001, there were 1.1 billion web pages on the internet that they were indexing. And I know that because I ranked #2 in London for London web design. And I was absolutely flat out. Like, the phone was ringing off the hook. This is before, people really started using the internet a lot, but it was busy. And I learned a bit about PageRank. I learned a bit about how to build links, and away we go. We were doing SEO before SEO was even called SEO. But back then, or actually before that, there was a document. It's very good. I've actually linked to it from an article that goes in companion with this. Google was called Backrub before they called it Google, right? And they worked out that there was going to be so much data, so many calculations, they were going to need one with 100 zeros behind it. And that is a Google, G-O-O-G-O-L. And the guy they sent to go and register the domain names spelled it wrong. And that's why Google is called Google. There we go, skipping on. So remember the search, the SEO triangle? So these are the 3 strategies. Yeah, mastering SEO, the 3 key strategies. Well, we're going to fix these 3 things when we look at any particular web page. We grab hold of a web page and we say, what's the foundation of this pyramid look like, or this triangle? Can I visit this web page and not scream at the screen, not scream at the screen? Yeah, say that 10 times fast, and not throw my keyboard on the floor. You know, if it's desperately slow, you've got a problem. We've got to fix that. Yeah. Well, does it have the keywords in the page? If I've typed in that I'm looking for a buyer's agent, does the headline at the top of the page say, we're the funky crew who can help you with all your needs? No, it should say, we're buyer's agents. There you go. And it's just that straightforward sometimes. And the links, that's the next, the next thing. Hang on, where is that? Sorry, everybody. I moved the slides around. Yeah, I've put it in the wrong spot. So Google changed the world, and they did it by fixing a problem. Does anybody know how search engines worked before Google came along? Anybody remember Alta Vista or anything like that? It was terrible, actually. It was really bad. So a lot of it was alphabetical. So Yahoo Directory was very popular, alphabetical. And you end up with the same problem that the Yellow Pages had, which is AAA, 4A, 5A, 10A, 18A plumbers, you know, those guys. And so what Google did is they used this back rub algorithm to say 2 things. Well, firstly, they said, don't be evil. And then they said, what other people say about you is more important than what you say about yourself. And that's true in real life too. If other people say that you're good, that's more valuable than if you say you're good. And that's why when we look at these links, we can evaluate them and count them and say, this link from E is very valuable because E has some links of its own. So that graph of the colored circles that I showed you earlier, getting links from a website that ranks well is far more valuable than just getting links from some unknown. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'll put that in the wrong spot. I'm going to go and I'm going to have a look at Google Search Console. And remember, this is the trade-off we're looking for. We want keywords that are high value and low competition and that have lots and lots of visitors. So there are a bunch of tools that we can use, but the best one is actually Google Search Console. And I've made a video and I'm going to link it to the notes that go with this. It's a 2.5-minute video showing you how to connect a WordPress website straight to Google Search Console. And then what I'm going to do, I have, I have an example here. Once I've connected a particular website, just trying to find where it is. I've got so many windows open. Yeah, we'll start. Just type it. Can you see my browser? So Nick kindly let me smash it like that. There we go. So once you've connected your website to Google Search Console, Google will share private information with you about your website. Now, this information is kind of invaluable. What it does, it has this performance report. And in here, this is where we're going to go in a moment. And we're going to dig into keywords and we have a look at what pages rank. But there's other information. There's information about how fast is the website. Yep, that would be under Core Web Vitals. There's other information here about what links point at the website, what different websites link to Nick's website. And then we also have some information here about sitemaps. So sitemaps are useful. WordPress, I'm going to talk about Yoast. Yoast will empower a sitemap. So here is a particular file that's generated behind the scenes. And this tells, so using rank math, and this tells the search engine what pages actually exist. And obviously it's not really human readable, but it's pretty useful for the search engines because they can see all of your pages. Now, if you wanted to check in on what your competitors are doing, this is an excellent place to go. So you go to your competitor's website, you type in robots.txt, and then in here, there's usually a statement saying where the sitemap URL is. So here, this is my one. And then you can have a look. You see, I've done something to mine. But anyway, you can go and snoop on what the competitors are doing. And that's very useful. Now, I've got this stuff here about Urban Buyer. I'll put that aside for now. And what we can do, we'll show you something, because when we take a particular look at a web page, there's a real Aussie one for you. Yeah. So this is an article we wrote years and years ago, 2017, about Aussie brands. And in the search results, we get a lot of traffic. We get a lot of visitors come to our website looking at this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how these filters work. So when I look at the overall website, it's a bit too much to deal with. There's a lot of traffic. What I'm going to do is say, show me the web pages that are only this one. So if there's a particular page on your website you're interested in, you can go and have a look at this page and say, what queries, what are people searching for in the search results? And what you really want to do is have a look at stuff that there's a lot of impressions, maybe get rid of the clicks, and you don't really rank that well. Yep. So this is a difference, right? Comparing one with another. You just get rid of the comparison. Just show you 3 months of data. Nope, I didn't do that right. 3 months of data. So over the last 3 months, this web page has ranked for all these different terms. But what I can do when I look at this page, yep, this is the page here. Some nice Aussie brands in here. What I can do is I can find something that doesn't rank near the top. Remember what I said about moving from position 10 to position 5? Yeah, that's a 60% increase. If we go from position 5 to position 1, what we want to do is have a look at the ones that get a decent amount of search. You see this one? We're 5th. Famous Australian brands. That keyword there, if I go to this page and I press Control F, search for that, okay, it's in the page 5 times. Do you think I could squeeze it in a bit more? No, probably not. Yeah. But it's been put there deliberately because we want to rank for that term. Okay. If there's something else that nearly ranks, but it's outside the top 10, I want to find something that has a lot of search on it. Famous Australian companies. No, that's only a few hundred. Yeah, There's nothing else, no other really good candidates. But let me show you what we did. So we actually edited that page and we put in terms like famous Australian brands. And you can see all of the different keywords. Like we only put in about 15 different keywords and did a rewrite to bring it up to date because it had a problem. It actually mentioned Holden, and Holden needed to be bumped out because they're not, you know, Sam reckoned that they should be kicked out of the top 10 because they don't even have a factory here anymore, right? So what we did, here, I'll try and make that a bit bigger, is since the end of May, so this is a 3-month comparison, we were able to lift the rankings on a huge amount of terms just by making some edits. And I don't know if you can notice this, but we noticed there's a South American or a Spanish phrase, Marcus Australianus. And then that was Sam's challenge when I got Sam to do this edit. How are you going to get that in the page? And he did. He put it in. There you go. He put it in. So we then going to increase the ranking for that as well. But what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on this. And the best way to do this is actually to take a look at your website and try and find what it is that that does and doesn't rank. Yeah, let me show you one that happened really fast. We have quite a bit of content explaining how to do things. There's one here about Google Ads, how to turn off search partners. A lot of people were finding this page, but we discovered that the rankings for this page were going down. And that happens over time. It's out of date. And when humans find the page and it's not quite relevant and the screenshots are out of date, they leave. And that behavior, that user experience behavior of people visiting the page and then leaving, that's detected by Google. And on their end, they see it as what they call dwell time. On your website, you see it as something called bounce rate. And for years, Google would sort of tongue-in-cheek say, oh, we don't use bounce rate as a ranking metric. And technically that's true. They use what you can infer as being the inverse of the bounce rate, the opposite side. So what Google sees is people going into your website and leaving. What you see is people coming in and going. So you see bounce rate and they see dwell time. It's the same metric essentially, but their cheeky kind of response has always been, we don't use bounce rate. Well, no, you don't, but you use dwell time and we know it. And the Google leak recently revealed that. And so we knew that things were going wrong because Google Analytics was telling us the bounce rate was a bit high on this page. And what Sam did was rewrote this page with some keywords that we'd found. And under here on the queries tab, we found a lot of keywords that could be used in the page. And when we found these keywords, we sorted them by the impressions. And we also looked through it to make sure they made sense to us. If people want a free AdWords manager, we don't want to use a keyword like that. Yeah, because there's no commercial value to us. But if somebody just wants to learn something like turning off the display partners, that's exactly what we want. And we updated all the screenshots, we changed everything, we put the keywords in, put a nice call to action at the bottom, and a solid kind of statement about what we can do for you if you need help from us. And we've already generated leads out of this, and it's hardly got any traffic so far, but it's got more traffic now than it has, than it did previously. So the clicks are up 25%, the impressions are up 19%. And what was nice was that we did the edits on the 26th of June, and we were number 3 in Google on the 4th of July. And now here today, when I checked it, we were actually number 1. But we're not just number 1. You can't see that. Hang on a second. So that was the long query, how to turn off Google Search Partners. That's frustrating. Yeah, I'll show you my screenshot from earlier. We were number 1 earlier, and we were above Google, which is a bit of a win. Yep. So looking out for what's in the search results, that's really important, because people are asking these questions, and that reveals the intent. Remember, I said that what people search for in Google is really, it's not just the end of the story, right? Don't just use the words because it's there. We need to think about what it is that they've got in their head, and what are they trying to achieve. And so when I did some digging a little while ago, I realized that there was nothing on our website. I'm going to get rid of this. So this is the raw data for the whole of Meta Solutions. And I'm going to take away the comparison. And when you connect up to Search Console, I just recommend playing around in here. And what we discovered was that whilst we rank for a lot of terms that have SEO in them, none of them had technical. And I'm quite a technical SEO. I do a lot of work where I fix problems with websites. You can see how the amount of impressions is going up because we've revamped the whole website. So we had a penalty because we were playing too close to the wind a few years ago, and that penalty's lifted now, and we've merged all of our domains together. So we had 3 different domain names, 3 different websites, all merged back together, and we didn't have anything technical in the website. So what I did was I went out and I did some research in our data, and what I found was that we didn't have anything to do with technical. So I added a page. But before I added this page, can you see this? This technical SEO page? Before I added this page, we actually had other articles that did have little mentions of technical SEO. And what's really valuable about this is that Google knows that this page, I'm going to visit it, Google knows that this page is actually about technical SEO, 6 technical SEO strategies anyone can do. Now, this isn't the kind of page I want somebody to come to buy a service from us. Yeah, I could try and get this ranking, and because it's got a long history, it may well rank. But the problem with the page being like this as a blog post, somebody who searches in Google, I need a technical SEO in Brisbane, they look at it and it's like, it's just 6 technical SEO strategies. No, I want to hire an SEO who can do technical stuff for me. So it doesn't meet what I want. So we started from scratch and built a whole new page. And so you can decide to either edit an existing piece of content, like if you can fit something in, or you can create a new page. So that example where I looked at that Australia's famous logos, we couldn't fit more mentions of that brand, of that term in there. If we really wanted another page about, if we really wanted to rank for the logos thing and we couldn't get higher with that article, we'd make a new page. So here we made a new page about technical SEO. I asked a particular tool, this tool in fact, called Surfer SEO, what would it recommend that I put on the page? So I've used it to vacuum up all of the content from Daniel's website. There you go. And what this does is this then makes suggestions. Can you see this over on the right-hand side? It uses keyword information and it uses the text from your website to tell you, well, if you want to rank for Queensland buyer's agent, you've got a 38 out of 100 skill on this. What you should do is use the term Queensland buyer's agent a few more times. So here, Queensland buyer's agent. If I edit that, that'll go green. Yep, because that's a better term than the one that was there. Daniel, oh goodness me, has earned the respect of trusted clients to be their QLD buyer's agent. Yep, there it goes again. Yep. So all of these terms, as you write it, it'll then go green and green and green, and the score goes up and up and up and up. And that's essentially what we did there with this page. And you can see it's quite a rich page, but it's also written from the perspective of what do they want? What's their intent? How do they buy our service, for example? And you see there's a lot to it. It's a big, long page. And then once they go through this page, there's calls to action. So they know that we want them to get in touch with us. Then we can track it. And that's what this initial kind of link was. I'm tracking how many visits we get. And if you look at the performance of this, that's just this particularly one page, and I take away the search, queries, and have a look at the keywords, we're now getting lots of impressions, still no clicks, none at all. But you can see they're going up, and the ranking positions, they're sort of averaging out, still a bit flat. But I can tell you that if I search for one of these terms, we're very close, because at the moment, this is giving me an average position over the 3 months. If I actually look at it just over the last 7 days, our rankings for some of the terms are right up there. It's the small terms, granted, but now that we've added a technical SEO page, we're now ranking higher and higher and higher for the particular keywords. And so we'll start to earn clicks. Like a few of the terms, we're already on page 1. And for us, a technical SEO gig can lead to link building, audits, all sorts of other kind of bits of work. So lifetime value as a customer is tremendously valuable. Just one lead can be tens of thousands of dollars. So it's worth finding those right keywords and digging in. So I've got some slides here about how to do the connections and how I do the sort of process. I've got a template as well. So this page has a bunch of resources for everybody who's attending this evening. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here, and there's even a template here that I use. I don't think we're gonna have time to go through it right now. And you can make a copy of this. Obviously, I can edit it because it's my document. But there's a guide here that you can take the data that comes from the search console. You can see over here, it's got export. You can export to Google Sheets, and you can copy and paste this data into these tabs. And so I've put some of Nick's data with some junk information in. Yep. And what you can do is you can get yourself a summary of how your website's performing, because what you'll do is you'll find that there are a few pages that are doing really well, and there are a few keywords that are doing really well, and there will be some that don't do terribly well. So what you can do is you can find, you know, here's a few keywords, for example, that Nick could optimize and he could rank better. Yeah, how to send a link for a Google review. That actually stands out quite high in Nick's data. That if he were to make a piece of content and tune it up a little bit for how to send a link for a Google review, that's in his data that he can, how to share a link. Can you see it's there over and over again? Yeah. And so this is how we do it. we go through and we score all these keywords, and I'll have like a master list of keywords with a particular client, and we'll score the commercial value. Remember in the presentation, I talked about the commercial value. Commercial value comes from this score out of 5. 5 is like you want to pull their arm off because it's an amazing deal. 1 or 0 is you don't want it. But when you score all of these, what happens is the spreadsheet will allow you to sort which keywords are more or less valuable, and then that way you can put your effort into the things that really matter. Bad news for Nick is that his 12-month outlook on his rankings is higher than the 3-month outlook, so that means that some of the rankings have gone down over time. But I know Nick's not too worried about these, but it's all good. But yeah, and also remember some of this is kind of fudge data because yeah, it's private as well. And yeah, let me just jump back to the presentation. So there's all these steps in here, and I've talked about all of this. There's one thing I want to show you in here though. There is are there any programmers here familiar with the term of regular expression? So a regular expression is where you can put in a query. I can put in brackets and I can say, show me any keywords with brand or logo or design, and then put a bracket around it. And that means queries containing brand or logo or design. That's all that means. It's just or. Hang on, I've got to choose query, regular expression, matches. There we go. And now it will come up with all those terms. There's 280 of them here on our website. But it means that you can really dig very deeply into the particular keywords that you've got, and then you can export the raw kind of data. And when you've got this raw data exported out, comes out like this. I like this spreadsheet, even if you don't use the scoring. I like this spreadsheet because I've got conditional formatting, and you're welcome to copy and paste this and use it. If it's between 5 and 10, it's green. If it's between 10 and 15, it's orange. And if it's 15 and 25, it's sort of light orange. And the idea here is that it helps you identify the keywords that have a close position that you can get ranking because it's very nearly there. And the reason that's good is because Google knows that it's relevant, and all you have to do is give it a nudge. And then the ones here in this column where they're green, that means that they're significant in terms of traffic as well. And you want to really target the ones that, like I've said with that trade-off, that have the good competition and the good competition, low competition, you already rank, so you know you're relevant, and also that there's lots of visitors. That's very, very important. When you edit content, I've put a little note in here about AI. I've even put a couple of prompts in here about how we use AI. We really use the human element before it ever goes near a website. So don't assume that we're using AI for SEO. We've tried. It isn't ideal. You know, there are some people doing far more sophisticated approaches than we are. At the moment, we're finding it better just to put a bit of time into taking the AI summaries, if you can see, but this prompt on the left here will generate me 12 to 18 headings. And those 12 to 18 headings, then you can go back to the same prompt and say, write me 200 words about the first one, the 10th one, the third one, and then use that to generate an article in, say, you know, a Google Doc. And then at the end, copy and paste the whole thing back and say, proof it and make sure there's no duplication. We see duplication even though we've done those prompts, but yeah, it's getting better. It's getting a lot better. But that human element, telling a story, you'll find that the best parts of our technical SEO page are the human written parts. And there is a little bit of AI in here, but the analogies that we see coming out of AI, we've specifically started telling the AI to be helpful and keep the analogies to a minimum. You know, we don't want an analogy about it's an apple orchard and a space rocket at the same time. It doesn't make sense, you know. Internal links, Do you remember when I did a search here for a particular term and I had multiple pages? I searched for technical. And there were 2 pages. What you can do is you can make sure that the lesser page, you see here, position 195, the lesser page, you absolutely want to make sure that it links to the higher page. You see this? Right here in paragraph 1, we are linking this bit of text to the other page. And this is one thing that your average kind of business owner just doesn't know. And, you know, it's probably if you only pick one tip out of today, it's that when you edit your website, pretend the menu isn't there. Pretend that you can't press any of these links. Where do you want me to go? And if you want me to go to the technical SEO page, make sure that I can do that and that there's a signpost on the link telling me what that destination page is about, because Google takes this information, and we've known this as SEOs for quite a long time because we've been able to infer it, but the Google leak recently specifically says in code, in black and white, this is how it works. The paragraph of text here about DJI drones, that's valuable. But this clickable link saying buy DJI drone, that will help you rank for that term. That's the most powerful signal you can send internally inside your own website. Now, getting links from other websites with that term, you can get a penalty if you get too many of those. So that's why I put this warning here. Do it in your own website. But the whole paragraph, and maybe even the whole page, all of that associative text and all the associative meaning about DJI, about drones, that transfers through the link. And that signals that the other page is more or less valuable for that keyword. Okay. So when Daniel is editing your pages, so you edit your homepage to make it about Queensland buyer's agent, because that's the term. When you're talking about Queensland buying agent in the text of another page, somewhere in the text, put Queensland buyer's agent and have that click. So here, maybe not, let's go social. Let's just go to your about page. Here, somewhere here, say you're a Queensland buyer's agent, and that click goes to your homepage because that's the one you want to rank for Queensland buyer's agent. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. And post update checking. Yes, after you change something on the website, scan the website. Yep, I use Screaming Frog. I use the paid one. I also use Ahrefs, which is a very expensive tool, but you can use Bing Webmaster Tools. And here, I know Will's here this evening, well, he was here. So he let me connect up his website, Security or Legal, and I've run a scan. You can just hit site scan and run the scan. It scanned 22 pages. There's 18 errors, 28 warnings. And what's good about this is it warns me if there are broken pages. So if you edit anything on the website, you want to make sure that you've addressed any broken pages, because if Google comes to your website, crawls around and finds broken things, it's going to waste effort trying to find out whether it's broken or not and come back and check, is it broken? And it's a waste of effort. They'll only give you so much budget, and you really want to make sure that they spend most of it going through your pages, not finding errors. So the less errors, the better. All of these errors, like this meta description tag missing, I'm going to show you in a second what that means. Asking a friend for a link. So that's the very last thing. When you've edited a page or you've created a new page, you should email somebody and say, hey, Nick, please link to me, do a guest post. And so that's how I ended up here. The search tool, Bing Webmaster Tools, that's the one I've just shown you. Yoast, that's the plugin for WordPress. Do most people have WordPress? Looks to me like they would have WordPress. It is the best website builder. We do Laravel quite a bit these days, but yeah, all the content sites. WordPress. I wrote a bit about this in 2017 about these traffic light system in Yoast. It keeps things like red, green, amber if it's, you know, optimized or not. Treat it with a big pinch of salt. What I do, mine are red, yeah, because I just don't worry about it. What I do is I only use it like this with the screen on this technical SEO page. I've put something here that will appear in the search results. And then here we've got the mobile version. You can click there and you can show the desktop version. And can we go and have a look at this? Maybe. The very idea of this is that I can see how it's going to appear in the search results. And then this thing goes green when it gets to a decent length. If I go too long, it'll go red. If I go too long, it'll go red. And really, that's what I want. I want a nice, concise, brief call to action, because that is going to appear in the search results. And I want people to look at it and go, yeah, that's what I want. So that's a bit frustrating. Yes, I was going to show you that. Yeah, see, that is green, but most of them are actually not green. Links, we had a look at that. We jumped through this. Hrefs, the free version, you can connect up. You can do a scan just like Bing. I don't know if it's really worth it. I think the Bing one's probably just as good. I ran a scan on a particular website as a test for this because I realized that $300 a month for Hrefs is quite expensive. The free one's pretty good. And I don't know if you can see all of these issues it's highlighted. They're probably clearer to understand than the Bing one. And then finally, the paid one, I have this one example here of what we call a content gap analysis. I did a content gap analysis for somebody I was trying to approach for a link. So this is somebody I just emailed out of the blue. They have a right for us on their website. And so when you go to Google, you can search for right for us. And you can put in URL com.au. And if I search for that, these are all the websites that accept guest posts. So you could contact lots of these people and say, hey, can I create some content for you? But because they're on this list and they're easy to find, they're probably getting spammed right, left, and center. So you need to be different. You need to be better. You need to be really interesting. So quite often, the situation is that they need links as well. So you can say to them, hey, I see you accept guest posts. I'm thinking of accepting guest posts. Would you like to write one for me? Yep. And that's my kind of secret, my tip number 2 is if you want a guest post, the giver's gain, offer them a guest post. Now, I don't necessarily offer them a guest post on the Matter Solutions site. I might offer them a guest post on one of the other many websites that I look after. I have a portfolio of all sorts of different sites. And in return for them giving me a guest post or me giving them a guest post, they'll give me one. And so, that becomes what we call a three-way link, because they may well, if I just scan here, so they've got a website. Can you see my screen still? Yeah. I'm just going to draw. So they've got a website. A, we've got my website. B, I want them to link to me. Well, I also have a website. It's like bananas in pajamas, isn't it? B1, B2. Well, here, I'm going to ask them if they want to have a link from my website so they can have a link to them. They write that piece of content, they put it on B2, and in return, they give me a piece of content on their website that links to me as a guest post. And it's really just horse trading. You're just emailing with people. Sometimes, you know, they negotiate and they're like, oh, I want $15. And you're like, oh, drive a hard bargain, you know? Yeah, you know, if you're paying for their time to, you know, post the link and help you out, you know, it depends how you value their time. I usually just think, well, you know, they are spending time and effort putting that in for me. And as long as you're not paying for the link, you're not breaking any of Google's terms of service. You know, naturally, I would caution anybody never to buy links, because that's a pretty bad idea. But what I've done here is I was liaising with these guys, Content Studio, and Content Studio is a ridiculously strong website. And so what I did is I got a response back that was rather like a bot, just said, we only deal with strong websites, go away. And so what I did is I wrote them a kind of a strategy, because with this tool, this is the paid Hrefs tool, this is the expensive one. What I did is I used the competitive analysis to compare them against their competition to try and find out what they don't rank for versus what their competitors rank for. And better than that, I found out what do they rank in the sweet spot, you know, the nearly ranking, like we're doing for your website when we look at Google Search Console. In this case, we found that, well, I found there's a whole bunch of stuff that these guys just need a little nudge and they would rank really well for keywords with huge amounts of traffic, huge. Like if I was working there and somebody said, I reckon I could bump you up to page 1 for AI Instagram caption generator. I mean, think about that, how detailed that keyword is. That's very, very specific, but it's still got 1,000 searches a month. That's really valuable. And if we can just bump it up 3 positions, they're going to get actually get some traffic out of that. And so I said to them, how about I make you a post and I do you a guest post somewhere else that will push you up. And in return, you give me a guest post. So I'm still trying to get them to do a guest post for me, but I'm offering them something of, you know, considerable value to get them what they want. And that's essentially the horse trading that SEOs have to do. And that's the, you know, that's the day in, day out of being an SEO. Firstly, you've got the technical side of things, making sure the website's not broken, working with the content, making sure the keywords are present and they say the thing the right number of times, because Google is effectively just a counting machine when it comes to page analysis like this. And there's a couple of very, very exciting kind of case studies. There was a guy, he did a website called Rhinoplasty Plano, and he proved that Google was just a counting machine, and he upset a lot of Googlers very badly a couple of years ago. His name's Carl Ruth. And yeah, if you can do the analysis, you can get past a lot of the smoke screens and the BS from the SEO world. Essentially what you want to do is find the keyword opportunities by trading off impressions with being nearly ranking. And my big kind of tip to you, particularly this audience, would be, I think some of you might not even see any data in your search console. Will, can you give me a nod if you're all right with me showing something in yours? Yeah, thank you. So Will's law firm, Security or Legal, he's only had the website up for a little while and he doesn't really have much. He's only ranking for his brand. Now, in this case, you'd kind of say, well, where do I start? You know, Ben's strategy of downloading the data to search from Search Console and putting it in a spreadsheet and then processing it. Well, there is no data. Like, we've got the brand name and that's it. Like, where are we going to go with this? Well, what you can do is you can just say the website itself just needs building out. And then in this case, you could say, well, Will is a will and estates planning lawyer. Is that right, Will? Is that the best way to describe it? Yep. Estate planning. Now, if I search in Google, wills and estate lawyers, Brisbane, you see, it's already suggesting. Can you see that it's suggesting? The secret here is I'm just not pressing enter. So Brisbane is at the top because it knows I'm in Brisbane. Wills lawyer near me, will lawyers, wills and estates, lawyers, Brisbane. There is that's the term. That's what people are searching for. And if we go and have a look at who's here, we can go and look at these particular websites. And what you can do is you can find the best aspects of all of these, and you can infer what it is that the intent is. The way I have my search results set up is I have a lot of results, but sometimes you get this pack at the bottom, and it has a lot of particularly useful information that indicates what people search for next. Because Google's trying to save people time, so they put the stuff that most people search for next right under their nose. And when you know that estate lawyers, best estate lawyers, well, that means that that's probably a keyword worth thinking about as well. So I'd almost take like a Google Doc, and I would start copy and pasting keywords and say, well, although Search Console doesn't give me anything for now, searching in Google gives me wills and estate lawyers, best estate lawyers, Queensland estate lawyers, estate lawyer, Brisbane. And then what I need to do is go to this page. It's beeping in my ear because estate lawyer Brisbane isn't mentioned anywhere. And I would almost go to ChatGPT and say, give me 10 subtopics that cover, and then give it the 5 keywords. Is everybody all right with me running over a little bit? Or do you want to, how are you going, Nick? Do you want to get the cane out and whip me off?
Yeah, look, if we've got another couple of minutes, people are happy to hang around for a couple of minutes, and then we'll finish up and do the draw. But this is great.
Okay, I'm just going to try and do something on the fly. So can you, Victoria, can you grab those keywords? Is that all right? Yep. Estate wills and estate lawyers, Brisbane. Imagine you are an expert copywriter. Generate 18 subheadings for a landing page explaining the services of and the professional delivery of these services. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. Okay, I would probably add best to some of these, and I would throw out probably half of them. But once you've got these mapped out into a document, you could create a real rich kind of document here that then helps people navigate maybe deeper down into the individual services of enduring power of attorney and, you know, disputes. I know you've got those as other pages, but you've got a broken link there, and there's a few other things going on. So that's what I would do. And if you have a look at the technical SEO page that we did, don't be afraid of adding lots of sections, because there's an or, you know, remember the old, Iraq War #1, the shock and awe thing? You know, people look at this and I think, oh my goodness, there's a lot to read here. Well, they don't read it all. All they do is realize, yeah, we've got a lot to say, and the bit that strikes a chord to them will jump out, and the rest of it, no, they'll just get in touch. Yep. So I'm going to share all the slides. I think, Nick, you send those all out, don't you? That's
yeah, we can drop them in as a link in the email that goes out tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's I'll put a link on that page as well there. And yeah, I guess if there are questions, and yeah, you can see there's a couple of other things. we've got a digital workshop with the Pirate Day, but I'll let Nick, sorry, questions.
Oh, good. Excellent. Well, thanks for that, Ben. That's a fire hose of information, I think, but a really good overview of particularly that sort of Google Search Console and how to really use that. And hopefully, well, I'm sure it's given people some information there to be able to start to dig into it, not to be afraid, really just to explore it. And I think your advice about just getting in and having a play is great advice. And I think that digital workshop as well too. We'll send that out in the email tomorrow as well. Maybe drop the link for that into chat so that when people save the chat, then they've got the link to that workshop as well too. So certainly, if you do want to find out more about SEO, it is a very worthwhile day to go to, or the workshop to go to, and I know you've experienced it tonight. So Ben's sort of content that he delivers is very, very detailed and very good information as well too. So give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and there are some takeaways there for you tonight. So excellent, fabulous. All right, that's just gone to me, Ben. Do you want to shoot it through to everyone?
Great, yeah.
So it's because I was talking to you. I can grab that and pop it through to everyone. There we go. Done. Excellent.
Thank you, everybody. I realize.
Fabulous. Excellent. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Let's give Ben a huge round of applause there for everything that he shared tonight. So really appreciate you coming in to share your wisdom. And after 5 years of not doing a presentation, I think that was pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Look, if anybody wants to get in touch, I'd be happy to help. And yeah, obviously getting a concrete example on one particular website can be really valuable. But yeah, I can even send Daniel, I can send you a link to how to edit this. So, now that I've used the credit on our system to set it up, you can have a bash with this if you want. So
that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Nick.
Fabulous. Excellent. Now we do have a door prize for tonight as well too. So tell us about that.
The door prize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the plan, Victoria's telling me there's two. Is there two?
Yep.
Okay, the door prize here. She's put in two. Okay, detailed SEO audit. She's editing my presentation while I'm working on it. So detailed SEO audit, and that's really hand in hand with me. We were an agency of like 15 at one point, and yeah, the junior thing, it wasn't really ideal for me. So I like working hands-on with clients. And what I'd like to do is do an audit for somebody hands-on and specifically detail for them. And like I've shown for Daniel, this is the editor. This is where we need to change these particular pages, do the audit. These are the stumbling blocks. These are the things holding back your rankings. And also, this is what your competitors have got link-wise. This is where the elephant has to travel. This is how you have to move to actually to play in that market. And also that little bit about earning some links for your website, who to contact. Well, I talked about that a little bit as the guest post thing, but usually people have a real fear of emailing random people and saying, give me a thing. So, I'm happy to coach somebody through that because that's a challenge. I've done that with many, many members of staff. And usually there's a big psychological block about emailing randoms and asking for stuff. So yeah, it's good. And then Victoria's put this prize too. Ahrefs, they came through. So I showed you the Ahrefs tool. I've known the guys at Ahrefs for a long, long time. They still make me pay an absolute fortune for the account. So don't think I'm promoting it for any, I'm not getting any favors, but they've offered us a swag box and they will post this out to the winner of the door prize number 2. So if you could draw 2 out, Nick, that'd be great.
Excellent.
And they are, yeah, I mean, SEMrush is a pretty good tool, and I've got a list of tools in the slides, which is here. SEMrush is a pretty good tool, but I would say Ahrefs is the best SEO tool by a long, long way.
Fantastic. So we've got 2 fabulous prizes there. One is a hands-on session with Ben, directly working with you on your SEO. Second is this swag box from Ahrefs. So we do have a special way of drawing this. So if you unshare your screen there, Ben.
Yep.
And what we'll do is we'll bring up our wheel of names. So we've got everybody's details in this wheel of names. And just remember, you need to be in the room to win it. So there's a few people that have just disappeared. So guarantee we're probably going to draw one of those. If that happens, when you're in luck again for the second prize draw, we'll just do it again. All right, let's spin the wheel. So this is for the first one. This is the session with Ben. All right, let's click the wheel to spin it. There we go. And it's away. So fingers crossed if you're looking for this one here. Oh, look at that. Ricky Blacker is going to be the winner. Fabulous. Actually, is Ricky still here?
Is he there?
Let's have a look through.
I was going to say, has he got a website for his band? That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. Actually, he's disappeared. He's probably gone off to organise some of the week round Camp Asia. So anyone knows Ricky, let him know that he won, but he disappeared, so we had to redraw it again. All right, so let's spin the wheel again and see who our second chance winner is. And that would be Derek Morgan. All right. You hear it, Derek? Just unmute yourself. Just let me know. Oh, he's disappeared as well too. I know Derek, so I'll let him know that he won that. So let's spin that wheel again. We've got to get someone in the room to win this. So if you're in the room, fingers crossed, could be you. Don't disappear yet. And we have Diane Dimitri. Are you here, Diane?
Absolutely, I'm here.
Fabulous. Excellent. Well, you are the lucky winner. Wasn't it worth staying for tonight?
It was, absolutely.
Excellent. So we'll connect you up with Ben by email tomorrow, and you can organise the details with that.
Great.
Thanks, Ben.
And
Nice to meet you.
And now we've got our second draw, which is that swag from Ahrefs. So let's spin the wheel again for that. And I'll post it out directly from wherever they're.
Victoria's here with her fingers crossed. No, Victoria, can't win that.
All right. Gordon Green. You still here, Gordon?
Yeah, I'm still there, Nick.
There you go, mate. That is yours. You've got a bunch of stuff coming to you, so you'll be a Ahrefs expert before we know. Fabulous. All right. Well, again, we'll connect you up with Ben to get all those details so they can send that out to you as well too. All right. Well, that's our show for tonight. Now, if you do want to get in touch with Ben, what's the best way? There's mattersolutions.com.au. Ben's also on LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
any
LinkedIn.
of those good?
Yep. Yeah, LinkedIn and also the website. So we have a pretty good callback set up with Google Calendar. So yeah, if you want to speak to me or Sam about Google Ads or Victoria about WordPress, then yeah, we're here to help. So yeah, just hit us up.
Fabulous. I've just put your website in the chat there. So if you don't want to contact Ben, find out some more information, well worth having that conversation with him. And he's on LinkedIn to connect with him as well. So if you've enjoyed tonight's presentation or you want to go and review it again because there's so much info in there, it will be up on the SmashGo YouTube channel tomorrow. So the link is now in chat as well. So you might want to save the chat now before you go by clicking those three little dots on the top right-hand side inside chat. But it will be up on the SmashGo YouTube channel. Link is there. If you're not a subscriber there, go there and subscribe to the channel. When you do subscribe, click that little bell beside the subscribe button and you'll get a notification as soon as the episode is up. And of course, if you know anyone that is interested or would be interested in this topic, feel free to shoot them through to the YouTube channel to see this video replay as well too. If you're not a member of the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook group, now's a good time to go and join. So just click the link to go through or just go and search for it on Facebook. Go and join and we'll accept you in there as well. And of course, save the chat because all of those links for the cool online tools and a lot of the links that Ben talked about on the way through the presentation, they are all in chat as well too. So that's our session tonight for Business Owners Smashing It Online. Thank you to everyone for coming along tonight. I expect to see your web pages increasing in their results in the search engine. And of course, we'll be back here again next week with another topic next week. So remember to register and we'll see you next week. So thanks again, Ben, and thanks everyone for coming along. See you next week.
Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.